Hey everyone, I'm Coach Ryan, certified ADHD coach, if you couldn't tell already. I've got my good friend, colleague, and I can now say coworker here with me. All of us are in for a treat. Ross always brings the fire. He's got one of the most powerful ADHD origin stories that I know about. I mean, he spent almost 15 years at Apple, was rated as an MVP twice. And this is not a joke. This is not, hey, oh, hey, Kristen, so glad you're here. And this is not a joke. He was recognized by Steve Jobs specifically when a raving fan from one of Ross's stores, I don't know how, but literally emailed, "Hey, Steve, it's John. I just want to let you know Ross is the bomb." Well, anyway, Ross isn't here for his resume. He turned some of his lowest ADHD moments into fuel for everything that he's doing as an ADHD certified high performance coach. And he's going to tell us a little bit about that. So go ahead, Ross.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that introduction. It makes me sound really cool. So I'll take it. So yeah, everyone that's here, all of you, thank you for downloading the Riverside app. You overcame some serious obstacles. So I'm just, wow, I'm even more honored that you made it. But before we dive in, Ryan, tell me, how's your energy after all of that? That was a lot of stress. How are you feeling right now?
Well, one thing that I think makes so many of us with ADHD wired the way we are is we thrive in chaotic situations. So even though there's some question marks and there's different kinds of energy. So I would say that I am rocking at a 9. Um, I know we're learning from this. I wish we would have had a smoother launch, but you know what? We're gonna trip right into greatness. So I'm at a 9.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, and I'm gonna since Ryan's at a 9, I'm no less than a 9, that's for sure, because even with those technical glitches, like, we were both so fired up for this. So, Ryan, I'm gonna flip it back to you to kick things off. Take us back, man. Like, when did ADHD first start showing up as something that you had to manage instead of simply just live with?
Well, I didn't even know it was a thing until high school for me. That's when I got diagnosed. And that's when I was looking to figure things out because of the fact that I was struggling in the classroom in the subjects that shockingly I wasn't interested in. So I
Me
figured
too.
it out. And when, for the first time in my life, I felt understood when the psychologist read off like the description, the symptoms of ADHD, I'm like, wait, that's me. So you mean I'm not broken? Like I didn't do something wrong. I'm not a failure. And so then I carried that into college and got accommodations. And I started off by trying to grit and bear my way through it because I didn't want others to know that there was something different about me. But when I don't know what the official clinical definition of a panic attack is, but I can remember so clearly being in a big lecture hall taking an exam and I could hear every person who was tapping their foot, chewing their gum, clicking their pen, tapping their pencil. Like it drove me crazy. So I'm like, that's it. So after that, got accommodations in college. And then moving on into my professional life, like that's where the struggles really became acute for me because I just simply, like, I would see my greatness, but then everything would just fall right through my fingers when I couldn't do the follow through.
Yeah. Yeah, struggle with follow through? What? Gosh,
Right.
that's weird. I don't know anything about that.
Well, and how about you? I mean, you really do have a powerful story. I would love for the audience to hear more about that journey at Apple.
Yeah, dude, well, one, just as you're talking about school, the struggles there, like, can totally relate. It does. I also do wanna speak to anybody out there that's like, "I didn't struggle in school." So, I mean, get this, like, little rabbit trail because we are ADHD. My ADHD psychiatrist, he's one of the leading experts on ADHD in the entire Silicon Valley. He graduated from Stanford. He was valedictorian for his entire graduating class from Stanford. Now, he didn't know he had ADHD. He knows now, but school was no issue for him at all. So it just goes to show, like, if you've met one person with ADHD, congratulations. You've met one. Like, we're all so different. But yeah. So anyway, for those of you out there that are like, school was an issue for me, there you go. That's okay. So my Apple story, it was surreal. I started at Apple in 2009 as a part-time specialist. And if y'all know, like 2009 was not the time to be getting a job. Like that was the recession. And My parents were like, "Listen, you need to get a job. I don't care where you're working." So, went through the interview process, thought I'd be there for just a hot minute and ended up, like, loving it. Started just 20 hours a week, and then 2 years later, I'm a store manager in Silicon Valley. One of the youngest at the time to be in a manager role. Uh, felt like a major imposter, but it was a rocket ship. Like, all of a sudden, I was leading teams of, you know, 100, 200 people. I was presenting at hiring events. Like, I was helping turn around like struggling areas of different Apple stores. Like you said, it's twice named most valuable leader in our area. And on paper, like if you were outside looking in, it looked like I had it all figured out. Like I was dialed in, follow through, no problem. Right? Like, and even Steve Jobs, yeah, like, at one point, yeah, he wrote me an email back and was, like, basically super thankful for the experience I delivered to a customer. So, according to everyone else, I was unstoppable, and, yeah, there's more to share, but we'll put a pin in it right there. So, Ryan, kicking it back over to you, tell me, what was the breaking point, right? So, I was just sharing, my little moment at Apple. I was unstoppable for a bit, but we all reach a breaking point with ADHD when we're trying to mask, when we're trying to make it in this neurotypical world. So, where was that breaking point when you realized that you couldn't just manage your ADHD anymore?
Well, before I get to that, I just want to make sure that I acknowledge because we did have a little bit of some technical glitches here at the start. I would love to know just who all is with us right now. Looks like Jody's here, Reagan's here, Kristen's here. Tell us what is your what's your experience with ADHD? Kamala's here, and thank you to all of you for letting me know you weren't able to join on the other links. We're still working out the kinks, but that's okay because we're here to live this real time. I was saying to Ross earlier, real time, real life, real ADHD. Like this is what happens. So it's okay. But yeah, so breaking point for me was there's a like which one should I pick? But it was when one of my sales managers said to me, "Maybe sales isn't meant for you, or you're not meant for sales." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like I thought this was my destiny. This is what I was supposed to be doing. But after a lot of people mentioned that to me, I realized, yeah, they're right that certain kinds of sales ADHD brains aren't built for, like these long term enterprise level sales. I was much better at the like I'm not surprised to hear that you thrived in a retail setting where you're getting to be face to face with people, like, man, that's where we come alive. Yeah, no, it's great. And that's why growing up, like, I got my sales experience from all the way since I was 13 years old, working at a brick and mortar retail store. My dad owned his own store. So getting to work with people. So anyway, the breaking point is when they said, "Hey, I don't know if you're cut out for sales." And it really made me think, like, what's going on? Then probably I would say the darkest moment was when I got fired from the organization that I had been with the longest. And at the time, my wife, Andrea, was 8 months pregnant with our first child, and I was the one carrying the benefits. And having to come home, well, actually, obviously I called her, having to call my wife to tell her I was fired again despite the bright aspects that I had in the job role, where anytime I was presenting, like I was the man. Like people were literally lined up to talk to me afterwards with all these questions, like, "Oh, thank you so much." I was the one that departments were requesting to come out and give the presentations. But because I couldn't do it like other people did, they let me go. So that was probably my lowest point. What about for you?
Wow, I relate with so much of your story, what you're sharing, Ryan. Like, yeah, man, in the right environment, in the right context, doing presentations, you were crushing it. You were killing it. People are like, man, like, come do this presentation, right? But because you couldn't fit neatly in the box
Yes.
that society, like our society today has been built around a neurotypical way of moving through the world. And because you couldn't fit in that without it looking really messy and confusing people and frustrating people because they don't understand, yeah, like they they decided it was better to just part ways. What a shame. They missed out.
That's
They
what I
missed
say. Like
out.
they did. What a shame because they can feel the energy that we're bringing, and for the clients that you and I have worked with as coaches, like, they know that when we are put in the right environment, we thrive, and that's what I'm always saying to those that I meet. So, that's
Yeah.
why we're here today, to let people know if you're struggling, you're not alone, and we're we're carrying the torch, and we have hope. We're bringing you hope.
I'm holding the torch right here. But back to your question. So yeah, I was crushing it at Apple, and then but inside, no one else really like noticed was that there was a very different story happening. Like I was masking constantly. I mean, every day I was thinking like, okay, Ross, like just don't let them see how inconsistent you actually are, how scattered you really feel. Like I lived in fear of being found out, fear that like, this this amazing ride I was on where I was really just being myself and things were going way better than they ever had really in my entire life. I didn't want the ride to end. But I mean that's ADHD for you, right? Like it's this paradox,
Yes.
right? You can shine in one moment and totally collapse in the next and you feel shame in both, right? You're like when you're crushing it, you feel shame because you're like I don't deserve this, like why like this doesn't make sense. I don't even
Or
know.
or sorry to cut you off, that's what we
Yeah.
do, but just thinking, "Why can't I do this? Why can't I crush it like I am right now?" Like, I always think about when I would
Yes.
go to career fairs, like you were talking about hiring events, like when I would represent the organization I was with at every stop on my career, like meeting people, networking events, like speaking, like I've presented at conferences, like it feels so natural, and that's where it's different from a neurotypical when people like cower in fear and we thrive. And I'm thinking, why can't I apply this same like comfort level? I'm gonna dare I say dominance of like feeling so good about the value I'm bringing. Why can't I transfer that to everyday chores and things like that?
Yes, dude, spot on. Yeah, so everyone was seeing all this confidence and success I was having. People were even referring to me as the golden boy.
My
Not
God, wait, I got
what?
that too.
No, 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 shut
Yes,
up. No, you didn't.
I'm serious.
You're
And
lying. You're just saying that for this.
no,
Okay.
I would have seasoned sales reps who were like crushing whatever I was selling at the time. Like they were destroying their quota and had been in President's Club, and they would come up to me pretty early on and be like, "One day I'm going to be working for you."
That's exactly what they would say to me. Yeah, that's what my boss and my boss's boss would say to me is like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be working for you. Dude, oh my gosh.
It's wild.
So yeah, so they're seeing all this confidence and success, but meanwhile, like I totally was drowning in self-doubt, totally second guessing myself, feeling like an imposter. So yeah, like that's what was going on. And like my breaking point was when I had a senior leader years into working at Apple, like had a pretty long season of like crushing it. She came to me and said, Russ, I don't think this was back in 2016. She goes, over like a 45-minute phone call, just tore me to shreds. And basically it amounted to Russ, I don't think you have what it takes to be a leader here at Apple any longer. What? What? Like, I mean,
You're the golden boy.
yeah, bro. I'm like, wait,
Like
wait, yeah,
you told me you were going to work for me one day.
right, right. Well, not that person, but yes, but yeah. It, yeah. I left that phone call, and I'll never forget. I was working at the store that was right at Apple's headquarters, and I walked right downstairs to the parking garage, got in my car, and I sat in my car for 3 hours. Just and I don't know if I was crying for 3 hours, but lots of crying, like lots of
Emotion.
yelling and like talking to God. And I was angry and I was confused. And I was at my wits' end because I'm like, I've been told I'm all these things. And I felt like an imposter all along. And it turns out I am. It turns out I'm the imposter that I was so afraid that was true. And because of that, I was just sitting there thinking, it's true. My brain is totally broken. Like I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. But even though that moment happened, like it's what started making me think differently about my ADHD. Like what I actually started thinking in the days after that moment is I went,
And what
wait
was
a
that?
second.
Because I think there could be people that even if they're not in the room right now, they're watching the recording and they're like, "Yes, like that's me. I'm proverbially there with you in the car. I'm sitting there. I'm wondering if I'm broken. I'm yelling. I'm angry, at God, the universe." So how did you turn that around?
Well, the truth was is that even though I got diagnosed with ADHD in second grade, I had turned my back on even pretending I had ADHD. I pretended it didn't exist. I didn't tell anybody about it at Apple. Stopped taking my meds after college, all those things. And so I had not even spoken about it for so long. And I realized, Russ, what if hiding your ADHD, not only from yourself, because you don't even really understand it, but just like hiding it from the world, what if that's actually the problem? And that cracked something open in me. And that's when I did a hyper focused amount, like dozens of hours of research into support. And I started looking for an ADHD coach. And I ended up finding an ADHD coach in Phil Boissier. He's now got a top seller selling book on Amazon. I did cognitive behavioral therapy with Phil Boissier for a year. And after doing that for 6 months, within 6 months of weekly cognitive behavioral therapy and coaching with him, that same boss who told me I wasn't cut out to be a leader, 6 months later, she sat me down and said, I'm so sorry, Ross. I was wrong. What? This person, like, this person was actively working to get me fired. I was on a performance plan, like the deck was being stacked against me hard. And 6 months later says, I was wrong. I was wrong, Ross. I misjudged. I misjudged you. And I'm really sorry.
Wow.
Because the truth is, I would love to keep you as a leader here on my team. I mean, let that just hang in the air for a second. That doesn't happen. And I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, whoever's listening to this going, okay, this can happen for me. It might look totally different, but I couldn't run anywhere. I didn't know
Yeah.
what I would
Yeah.
do if I didn't work at Apple at the time. So all I wanted to do was survive and prove to myself and to everyone else that I deserved to be there. And that was the beginning when everything started to change. So I'm thinking about all that right now. It's just kind of flooding back to me.
I just tried using a feature where there was cheering. Could you hear that, or can
No.
anybody hear that? All right. Dang it. Because I did like this cheering. So everyone was like, yeah. So you just got a digital standing ovation. We can probably hear it in the recording. Still navigating. Anyway.
So that was but back over, like, I want to just flip it back over to you, Ryan, because we both have such interesting takes and stories and experiences and perspective, and it's so valuable to hear both, even though we're like, wait, Golden Boy, you too? What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So tell me, like, what shifted for you, Ryan, when did the shift happen? When you started actually, this is a newer word I've been using, but I love it. Like, when did you start partnering with your ADHD brain?
I won't even go that far. Here's what I'll say
I
is
love it. I
no,
love
no,
it.
no. I think it's because I wasn't there yet, but it was I would be bold. I would be so bold as to say this was an epiphany for me. And I'll never forget, I was journaling on my back, like my back deck. And it was like a July day. It was really warm because I remember I was sweating in a good way. And I saying, like, writing it down, and it hit me that what if it wasn't my fault? What if it was the system that was broken? And I also realized, because not I think, I know that those of us with ADHD, we tend to take things so personally. Like, if
Yes.
we get fired, like when I would get my performance review, I'll never forget, I'd get these and it would say, like, meets most. So that I took that so personally that means I'm a meets most human being. Like, I'm not even like,
I say.
meeting the
I say meat.
expectations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meats most. Got it,
Like,
got it,
do
got it.
you meet all the
I
duties
was
as
thinking of, like,
assigned?
hamburgers, like meats most what? Anyway,
He's the most meaty man we've ever met. Mostly meaty. No.
sorry, keep going.
No, it's okay. So, like, I would take that internally. Yeah, exactly. Kamala says in the chat, like, report card trauma all over again. And that's how it was. Like, I would sit there and be like, man, like, I thought I really gave it a good effort. What the heck? But it hit me in that moment. I just wasn't cut out for that job. Like, literally, it was just that simple. Like, that job wasn't a good fit. And they didn't know enough about ADHD to know how to support me in the right way so that I could use my
Yes.
strengths. So then I had this weight lifted off my shoulders, like maybe it wasn't my fault. And then I went so far as to then start thinking, like, in the dark is where I found my spark. as I like to say, because
Ooh, I
my
like
spark
that. Write
my
that down,
spark yeah,
everybody. In the dark is where I found my spark. That's good.
yeah, and the reason why is because I realized that there has to be other people like me who are out there struggling, and what if I could help them? What if I could help them? And so that's when it kinda started for me, and it turned around a little bit, found out about coaching, and that now is 5 years ago, and I've been more fulfilled in the last 5 years helping other people just like me to navigate these storms, Ross, than I ever was.
Woo! And no applause needed. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure.
It's amazing.
Ooh, and Reagan just dropping it like it's hot. He's saying, I'm gonna put this up there. Those destined for greatness must first walk alone in the desert. Yeah, thank you. Ooh, love that.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yes.
ne
Yeah, like we are forged in the fire, baby.
mhm,
That
we
is
are.
so true.
It's the trials, and if we can make it through those, now, I said before about the torch, but I do see us like I'm so humbled and honored to have the social media presence that I do, being a top voice on LinkedIn, having over 500,000 total followers, that I want people to know it's not about me, that it's about us, that like
Yeah.
we matter as human beings and that they're not alone. So that's been kind of my main mantra is like, you're not alone. Like, even if you only feel like you have me, you're not alone. Like, let's do this together.
Yes.
So now, what else can we bring to the audience in this first ever live? Because we have about 20 minutes left, so I want to make sure
Let's
we give
go.
we give them
Hey,
some value.
we got some more, baby. Let's go. Um, well, I'd love to touch on the identity trap and unpack that for folks that are listening right now.
What that sounds great. What do you want to do? How do we do that?
Right. So, the identity trap, what is that? Basically, the identity trap is believing that success means you're hiding or fixing your ADHD traits. So it looks like, it looks like masking, some of your abilities, like masking hyperfocus, right? And calling it discipline or whatever. Like, right? No, it's not hyperfocus. You were just disciplined, boy, or like whatever. I don't know why I'm talking like anyway. Or it looks like apologizing for your intensity. Man, I I had to feel bad about my intensity and my energy for most of my life. Most of my life, like I relate so much specifically to it just happens to be many of our sisters out there with ADHD often tell me that they've spent so much of their life feeling like they're too much, told that they're too much. And I get that. And that's part of the identity trap is thinking that you need to change that, thinking that that needs to be fixed or you need to hide that instead of recognizing that some of those too much abilities of yours actually are like screaming needs for great leaders. Like leaders, not all leaders, but like a lot of times leaders are needed in certain teams and environments that bring that level of intensity.
Well, and Ross, you
Gosh.
bring this is such a good point, and I want to call out something here because Reagan put something in the chat, and I'll bring it up so everyone can see it here. But for him, he's saying he feels like most of his struggle comes from not opening up. So I want to make sure that
Mm,
I help us to cast a wide net here to say, I mean, you even mentioned it before when you said when you've met one person with ADHD, you've met one person with ADHD. In other words, like in Reagan's case, maybe people don't consider him to be too much. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean? That's no indication of his leadership potential because
no,
everyone I call it different flavors, of ADHD. So
I love
I
that.
just want to make sure to call that out because it doesn't mean you have to be loud and boisterous to be a good leader.
No, no, and Reagan, yeah, my a psychiatrist, the ADHD psychiatrist I was telling you about, that I work with, he he's told me in more ways than one, he's like, "Russ, there's no one out there with your amount of energy. Like, you're an outlier." So, my intensity and I'm too much, don't worry, if you're nothing like that, you're in good company, but yeah, like, even just not opening up, right? Like, not sharing your real self with the world, with the people around you, and it's no wonder. Like, we all struggle with that in varying degrees, and that's a part of this identity trap or, like, treating your creativity. Like, most of us with ADHD are so creative in incredible ways, right? And creativity doesn't mean that you can draw, which little plug here, Ryan is an insane doodler, like insane. I can't draw. If my life depended on someone had a gun to my head, I wouldn't be able to draw anything. But creativity doesn't have to just mean like an artist in the way that we think about it. Creativity can just be like you come up with amazing ideas to solve problems, your own problems, other people's problems. Like you come up with creative ideas for new things you can do with your son or your daughter, or trips you can go on with your friends, or experiences that you want to have, or new hobbies you want to try. Like that's creativity. But
Yes.
when you treat your creativity like it's chaos and like it's something you want to get rid of, instead of recognizing that's an innovation engine. Why in the world would you want to get rid of that? So that trap is that you're always performing a version of success that isn't really your own.
Can anybody else who's listening relate to that? And in case you're struggling to relate, Ross told me that part of this is going to be a little activity where we can reconnect with a more authentic version of ourselves, right, Ross? Isn't that part of
Yes,
the, because I want to make sure we leave some time at the end in case people have questions, because we do
totally.
want this to be interactive. We're hoping we can figure out the technology. We will, but I want to give Ross the chance to do this activity that he had prepared and leave a little bit of time for people to comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and let me just take a moment to speak to the folks that maybe are like identity trap. Like I don't think that's me, or you're just kind of you're feeling like, oh no, I don't think I'm struggling that way. Well, let me tell you the cost. The cost when you stay stuck in that trap. So the cost is massive. One, you burn out. I reached burnout. That's another story for another time. I'd take 6 months off, leave of absence from Apple. Or you constantly feel like an imposter, right? Or you drain yourself trying to keep up with systems that weren't designed for your brain in the first place. And the saddest part is, you might never get to experience the freedom and the joy. Like I'm speaking to you right now, Reagan, the freedom of opening up, the joy of being yourself. Because you'll be exhausted. You'll be totally drained. And it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you just can't figure it out. It's because you've been running someone else's race. Let that sit for a second. Have you been running someone else's race? Because your entire life, you've just been told over and over that that's just what you have to do. So put in the chat, right? If you like, put just one word in the chat, right? Put someone, not one word, but just put someone else's race if you resonate with that at all. Even if you're watching the recording, put it in the comments, someone else's race, right? Like, let this be the start of a new beginning, of you turning in a new direction, like turning towards that more authentic part of you opening up to the world.
Activity.
Okay, activity. Great. Okay, so
But we'll get stuck in a different, we're in the time trap if we don't get to that.
right. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the activity, which true ADHD style, there's always so many other things you hope to cover and touch on and talk about. Wow. Woo. Boy, is that true? Yikes.
It's
Okay,
okay. This is only our first one, Ross. We've got lots of time on future performances to share gold
I
with
love
you.
it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So everybody, you're gonna close your eyes. So if you're watching the recording, if you're watching this live, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you think it's woo-woo to close your eyes when someone asks you to do this, but I'm gonna ask you to close your eyes, okay? It's really weird if your eyes aren't closed and you're like, we're looking at each other. That's just weird. So don't make it weird. Close those eyes and imagine it's a year from now. Your eyes should be closed, and it's a year from now. And instead of fighting against yourself, instead of trying to run someone else's race of success and what you think success should look like, you've learned to partner with yourself, partner with your unique ADHD brain. And take a deep breath, okay? Look at that. Just get in that space that a year from now, you're starting to understand your ADHD brain. You're starting to partner with it. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Better yet, say release in your heads just silently when you breathe out. So breathe in again, one more time, release. So I hope you have that picture really clear in your head. So imagine, how does your morning feel different when you wake up a year from now? Or how is the way that you show up in your most important relationships shifted? Or let's just say things aren't, because no matter what, even if a year from now things are better, life is never a cakewalk. We know that. And we're forged in the fire. So when those distractions or challenges do hit and they come up, how do you now handle them in your future year from now self? And last, I want you to think, what's one thing, just one thing that you're most proud of about yourself 1 year from now? And it's okay if you just came up with an answer to one of those, totally fine.
And
So open your eyes.
give me the recap. What are the questions
So
one
the
more time so I
questions
can type
are,
them in?
yeah, how does your morning feel? These are all questions for yourself a year from now. How does your morning feel differently when you wake up a year from now? Second question is, how has the way that you show up in your relationships shifted? And the third question is, when those distractions or challenges inevitably hit, and they will come up, how do you now handle them? And then the last question is, what's one thing you're most proud of about yourself 1 year from now? So if your eyes are still closed, man, I wish I could give you 10 high fives, but your eyes should be open. Now, with your eyes open, type in the chat one word for what felt most important to you in that vision exercise that we just had. It's okay if it doesn't feel like it's what you thought it would be, or it doesn't feel like, don't try and land on the perfect thing. Perfection's a myth. All right. Just get perfection out of here. Just one word in the chat, drop it in. What felt most important in that vision? And if you are watching the recording, just drop it in the comments. One word.
Ross, are you able to see it when I put
I did.
somebody's
Yeah. Reagan just said future self and direction. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So having that direction, having a plan, like feeling confident about where you're headed and how you're going to get there. Kamala said leading with love instead of stuck in fear. Yes. Oscar said serving food to my doggies in the morning. It's what gets me out of bed and happy. I love that.
love that.
That's amazing. That's so good. Gosh, thanks for sharing, you guys. Brian Mayer coming in said, awake, alive, energized. Yes.
And we don't follow rules that well, so I couldn't just pick one, obviously.
Love that. So good. Yeah, there's so many things. There's so many. I know some of you guys are probably thinking, I want to hear more on that. I want to hear more on that. There's a lot of different angles and ways that we could take this conversation. But in our time that we have left together right now, I want to ask all of you right now to just think about what's one thing that you can try doing differently starting next week. Give yourself the weekend, but starting next week, what's one thing that you could try doing differently that would just move you in that direction? Don't try to do it all at once, because that's what we love to do. And don't beat yourself up that you can't do 5 things. Just choose one. Why, Ryan, talk about why it's so important to just choose one thing.
Well, I love, for those of you who have worked with me for a long time, you know that I love the phrase specific is terrific, because if we have this view of something a year away, first off, that may as well be a decade away. And then also, if we don't bring it into the forefront, like as Dr. Ned Hollowell says, it's either now or not now. So what from 1 year from now, what can we bring it into the now and make it very tangible? So for me, just for example, if I want to be awake, alive, and energized, that means honoring that I need to go to bed. And I'm not going to be like my ADHD tries to tell me, oh, you'll be able to get it all done tonight before you go to bed. It's like, that's a lie. You can't.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important, is because if you don't get something small and specific, I heard this last week and I love it, that, and Ross, I don't know if it was you, somebody told me this, but that procrastination is just perfectionism in disguise.
Yes.
As Ross would say, write that down.
Write that down. Hey, listen, why do you write things down? Because don't expect your ADHD brain to remember. Come on.
Working memory doesn't work, people.
So if something's resonating for you right now, those of you here with us live, those of you watching the recording, and if you're curious how to actually make this become a reality potentially in your life, I want to make sure you know that we're available and we're offering complimentary 60-minute strategy sessions with Ryan, myself, or other coaches on the Ryan Mayer coaching team. We want to offer that to you. And just so it's clear, this isn't disguised as like a ploy, to like sell you. Kamala said, go the F to bed. It's the best to set up for the next day. Yeah, exactly. It is the best way to give yourself the highest likelihood of having a great day tomorrow. But we just want you to know that the offer of getting on a call with us and just beginning to get clear on what your next steps could look like, starting to help you like put just the first layer of that plan together, we would love that. So Ryan, what's the thing that you're most excited people walk away with when they do take us up on one of these discovery call sessions?
I know that I felt the energy as I knew I would when we got together, because Ross and I were talking about how hyped we were all day long. And what I know that they would come away with is knowing that we could bring our energy to their lives and their situation and help them to remember the greatness that's inside of them, and simple specific ways to unlock that. And
That
I and
you
I
just
and I
you just said it, Ryan. You just said it. It's like not being alone. How important
yes.
is that to not don't go this journey alone? Like, it's a fool's errand. Like that, I just gotta add, Ryan, you just really sparked that reminder that that was the biggest thing that changed things for me was starting to find those allies in my coach, starting to find allies at work, people who believed in me and asking for help and admitting that I need help. And I know that I can't go as far as I'd like to go or any further on my own. That's so huge.
I want to just couple things. One, say thank you again for to all of you for sticking with us, for jumping on, and also give a shout out. I know Reagan is on the call, and he said he was taking a walk, and that I always say movement is magical. So he's literally taking steps to make
Let's
changes, and
go,
and that's and
Reagan.
that's what we can all do. I would just love to ask, just in the last few moments here, for just feedback. So for those of you who joined us live, what were some of your takeaways? Like, how did this hit for you? Um, because we want to do more events like this. Ross and I are tossing around the idea of everybody needs a little R&R in their life. So why not just have it every Friday? Get it?
There we go. Have a little R&R before your R&R over the weekend. Dude, that's good.
Thank you. I thought that was pretty good. And as fate would have it, typical ADHD, I got to jump because I have an important meeting to get into with another fellow ADHD professional.
Woo! Awesome.
But Coach Ross, thanks for bringing this idea. Thanks for being the spark to light this fire of the torch. And we're gonna keep stoking that flame to ignite others and
Yeah.
bring them with us.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, in the recording, like, in the chat, please jot down below, like, what do you wanna see more of?
Hmm.
Right? Like, what did you
Let
hear
us
that you're
know.
like, "Gosh, I'd love a whole webinar on that. I'd love a whole conversation on that." Like, we're doing this for you.
Yes.
So please tell us exactly what you are hoping for. What do you wanna get? What do you want us to talk more about? And we'll bring it. All right, dude. I'll let you go.
Well, thanks again to everybody. You're not alone. We love you. We believe in you. And let us know what we can do to help.
Yes. ADHDers, let's go.
Let's
All right.
go.
Yeah.